If somebody can say something about you and you not be phased at all,
Right.
you have arrived to a place like no other.
Internet family, once again, it's your friend, your buddy, your boy, your internet pastor, if that's what you like to call me, Pastor Jason Miller. And I'm glad that I can share something of significance with you today. I'm taking a little excerpt out of a message that I preached here at Greater Life Church. And the message comes from the book of Exodus, chapter 16. Please study it when you have time. And the characters, if I could say it like that, in the text were Moses and the Israelites and God, or the main characters, if you will. And they teach me a lesson through Exodus chapter 16. Not only do the Israelites teach me a lesson, but God ultimately teaches us a lesson through them. The scriptures declare that they were murmuring and complaining against Moses and against God. And the reason they were murmuring and complaining is because they were hungry. They were on their 2.5 months into the wilderness after they have left Egypt. And they're in such a famine, if you will, or they're so hungry that they begin to murmur and complain. And they say to Moses, you should have left us in Egypt. You should have left us in Egypt in bondage as a slave, but at least we had food in Egypt. And then they say to Moses, you brought us out here to die from hunger, to die of starvation. And what's interesting about this text and what I learned is that God responds to their murmuring and their complaining by promising that he was going to rain bread from heaven. We know this as manna. And when God said this, he actually taught us a great lesson. And that is this, that God knows how to bless us supernaturally. Manna from heaven is a supernatural blessing. No way is bread supposed to rain from heaven. But God does it for them because he wants to teach them a valuable lesson. And that is, not only do I know how to bring you out of Egypt, out of bondage, out of slavery, out of sin, but I know how to provide for you and sustain you as you come out and as you live your life on this Christian journey. Teaches a valuable lesson, but he also teaches me this, that there should never be any limits when it comes to God. Oftentimes people put limits on God and say he'll only bless people because they do this, and he'll only do that because you do this. But you have to be mindful of who God is. God blesses according to his own will and his own desire because of his own purpose. And sometimes his plan and his purpose is bigger than what we see. And so with that being said, Jesus says in Matthew chapter number 5 that the sun rises on the good and on the evil. He reigns on the just and on the unjust. That God can do absolutely whatever he wants to do, whenever he wants to do it, amongst the people of whomever he'd like to choose. In other words, do not limit what God does. Just because you see a people that might be disobedient to God, or as we would say, unsaved, does not mean that God does not have a plan for them. He had a plan for Israel. That's why they murmured and complained, but he promised bread. He promised bread at their complaints and at their murmuring. Now, he could have easily given them a rod. He could have easily disciplined them as disobedient children and as ones that should not have been murmuring and complaining. But God shows his love. He shows his grace. He shows his compassion. He shows his patience. So if I could share and encourage anybody, I share this. Never limit what God does. And always remember, when God does anything, he does it because he has a plan. Isaiah says it like this in Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8 and 9, that his ways are higher than our ways and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. As the earth is from the heavens, so are his ways and his thoughts from ours. And when he teaches us that, he teaches us that just because you don't see his purpose fulfilled, or just because you don't see the end of his purpose, doesn't mean that he doesn't have one. God has a plan for whomever he chooses. And Just because you see a certain people in a certain lifestyle or going through a certain season, never say to yourself, God can't, or that God only. God will do whatever he wants to do. There are no limits to God. God blessed them and they weren't obedient. That does not mean that he doesn't look for obedience. He absolutely does. He says, no good thing will I withhold from them that walk upright. Psalm 84. But it does mean that you can't limit what God does, and you cannot limit who he does it for. If that were true, and if people could limit it, then you wouldn't be blessed right now. You wouldn't be saved right now. And you would not be enjoying this message that I'm sharing with you right now. But because God is who he is, he loved us when we were unlovable. He loved us when we hated him. He loved us when the scriptures in Romans declare when we were enemies towards him, when we weren't thinking about him, let alone thinking about serving him. God was thinking about us, and he was touching our life. Be encouraged, internet family. Be encouraged in this. Don't ever put limits on God. God will bless you in a good season of your life, and God will bless you in a bad season of your life. It just depends on what he wants to do in your life. Share this message. I encourage you. Facebook it to somebody. Text it to somebody. Send it via email to somebody. Let them know what our YouTube channel is. It's me, YouTube, Pastor J 609. Also, I invite you to come share here at Greater Life Church. We are located at 191 Humboldt Street in Trenton, New Jersey, right on the corner of Calhoun and Humboldt. Our hours of service are Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. and Bible study is Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. We also have an amazing school called Greater Life Academy that we gather at on Mondays at 6:30. It is a course, a year-long course in biblical study. Come apply, come join, come register, and be a part of the class. You don't have to be a member to be a part of the school, and you don't have to be a member, of course, to come and enjoy Sunday morning worship or Thursday evening Bible study. I encourage you. I believe that something will be said to bless your life, but not just your life, your family's life. I'm praying for you. I hope you're praying for me. Once again, I'm Pastor Jason Miller, and it's good to see you. I hope you're happy to see me, and I'll see you next time. God bless you.